All right, Terence Crawford. Looks like the Kell Brook fight has a chance of falling through, but now we know who from the PBC Terence Crawford can fight to prove that he is the #1 fighter in the world and trump everybody at 147 since he does not have a fight at 147, and that is to fight the new top pound-for-pound fighter, Jermell Charlo, at 154. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back. So, if you recall a few months ago, Terence Crawford said that he would consider moving up to 154 pounds because he has not been able to get a fight with the guys over there at the PBC. And it seems like there's issues with ESPN and the money with Kell Brook. But that is something that Terence Crawford said that he would be interested in doing. And right about now, dude, I think that he absolutely, positively should do that. And he should do so with a fight with the 154-pound kingpin, Jermell Charlo, for the IBF, WBA, and WBC belts. This is the absolute perfect solution for everything that woes Terence Crawford and the welterweight division. But let's talk about it. If you're not familiar, this weekend, Jermell Charlo beat Jason Rosario to unify 3 of the belts at 154 pounds. He unified the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF. The only other belt that is out there at 154 pounds is the WBO belt, which is held by Patrick Texiera, who is promoted by Golden Boy Promotions. But as we all know, the WBO is known as the whatever Bob orders belt, and Terence Crawford has been the WBO champion at 135, at 140, and at 147. And I am completely convinced that the plan is eventually for Terence Crawford to get a belt at the WBO belt at 154 pounds. And that is what he should do in the short run, because at 147 pounds, there's all kind of hurdles to him getting a fight done. The hurdles are, number one, that it's so rich in popular welterweights, and the sanctioning bodies keep stacking these guys up in mandatory positions for Errol Spence Jr. that it doesn't seem like that fight is going to happen until at least 2022 is what it looks like to me. You have Errol Spence Jr., who has to fight Danny Garcia next, so that's his fight for this year. In the beginning of next year, it's been said that the next fight for him is going to be a rematch with Sean Porter, so that is in the first half of 2021. After that, I do believe that he's going to have his IBF mandatory, which is going to be the winner of Sergey Lipinets and Abu Karev, which is going to be happening in the next couple of months. And the IBF belt, Errol Spence has not defended that. It hasn't had a mandatory for that since 2019, before the Mikey Garcia and before the Sean Porter fight, which took place in 2019. So, excuse me, he hasn't done the IBF mandatory since 2018. So the IBF mandatory is coming up quick for Errol Spence Jr., and that pushes all of that up, till 2022. Right now, you're talking about Terence Crawford being there, in 2022. But what's going to happen with that, with Top Rank? You're also going to have Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor moving up as well, which is going to cause a bit of a log jam over there for Terence Crawford. But since Terence Crawford can't get the Kell Brook fight, apparently he can't get the Kell Brook fight because the BT Sports isn't going to be willing to, or Sky wasn't willing to pay for the fight or pick up the fight and air it. So there's some question about whether or not that can be made. You know what I mean? But if you have a fight with like Jermell Charlo, takes all that stuff away. Jermell Charlo, a fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Jermell Charlo does not have any of the problems that you have for Terence Crawford at 147 pounds. And that is that Jermell Charlo already cleaned it out. He's got 3 of the belts. He's already exactly where Errol Spence Jr. would be if Manny Pacquiao would actually fight him next, right? So it's going to, mosquitoes in the house. So it's just not guaranteed. It's much easier route for, as far as the availability, the ability to get the fights for Terence Crawford at 154 than it is at 147. Versus the Texiera fight. He can get the Texiera fight. And more than likely, he can beat Texiera. So that would make him, for the WBO, it would make him a 4-division WBO champion, right? 135, 140, 147, and 154. And that would set him up perfectly for a fight with Jermell Charlo. And Jermell Charlo at this point in time has been on a pay-per-view, right? He was just on a pay-per-view with Jason Rosario. So if Terence Crawford wants to have a pay-per-view and wants to have it soon, right, against a guy where you could unify belts, then the easy route is get the WBO belt off Texiera, right, and then go for Jermell Charlo, or go straight for Jermell Charlo. Because who is Jermell Charlo going to fight? J-Rock has already been beaten. Jared Hurd has already been beaten. He just beat Jason Rosario. Austin Trout is already beaten. There's Landy Lara, but Landy Lara is not as interesting a fighter, as big money a fight for Jermell Charlo as Terence Crawford is. That fight is like, it's the best option for Jermell. And it handles the problem with Texiera, because when Jermell was asked about what he wants to do next, and he was like, yeah, that WBO belt, I haven't seen Texiera fight. I've never seen him fight, but that's Oscar's got that belt, right? So, tell him to get his boy or him or whoever they wanted to come fight and get these other 4 belts, right? But Texiera is just going to, it will be a unification fight. Jermell Charlo will run through Texiera, and then he'll have all 4 belts, but it wouldn't be as lucrative for Jermell Charlo as a fight with Terence Crawford. It wouldn't be as lucrative for Terence Crawford. No other fight other than Errol Spence Jr. at this point in time would be as lucrative for Terence Crawford as Jermell Charlo, man. And it's just one more weight class. Just one more weight class. If what people are saying about Terence Crawford at 147 is true, that he is the best at 147, that nobody at 147 can beat him, that he's going to beat Sean Porter, that he's going to beat Keith Thurman, that he's going to beat Danny Garcia, that he's going to beat Errol Spence Jr., then if that's the case and he can't get the fights, make it, prove it. Prove it. Go to 154, beat Jermell Charlo, beat Texiera, beat Jermell Charlo, become the undisputed champion at 154 pounds. Seems easy to me. It's not, though. It's not. Because Jermell Charlo is going to beat Terence Crawford. I mean, for all I say that, Jermell Charlo is going to beat Terence Crawford. Because Jermell Charlo is, in my opinion, a top 4 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. He's 5'11". He's every bit of a big 154-pounder. But if Terence Crawford has all of the skills and all of the gifts and all of the talent that people says that he has, he should be able to go up and beat Jermell Charlo. Because there's a lot of talk that Errol Spence Jr. and Jermell Charlo go at it. And a lot of people believe that if Errol moved up to fight Jermell, that is a pick'em fight, right? So if Errol and Jermell is a pick'em fight, and people are so confident that Terence Crawford can beat Errol, then shoot, you should be confident that he can beat Jermell. But it's not going to happen, dog, because Terence Crawford it's not going to happen for 2 reasons. Number one, Terence Crawford fans going to act like people are out of their mind for asking them to do it ahead of time. I see you, drink more water. I see you, Woolbag. I see you. I know you're going to say, oh, well, why should he have to go all the way up there and do that? Hey, man, it's only the 4th division, right? Manny Pacquiao went from 105 all the way up to 152, right? Oscar De La Hoya went from 130, 126 or 130, all the way up to 160. This is going from 135 to 154 pounds is not unheard of, dude. Roberto Duran won a lightweight title at 135 pounds, and he also won a middleweight title, I do believe, when he knocked out Iran Barkley at 160 pounds. So Terence Crawford doing this is a realistic fight. This is a fight that is within reach for him. And then if he is that extra skilled, super duper fighter that people say he is, he should be able to pull off. But if he's not able to pull it off, dude, he'll at least get major warrior status for having the nerve to go up there and fight Jermell. But again, this is a conversation where those guys both talked about it just a little bit. But at the end of the day, man, you know what Terence is going to do. Terence is going to be over there at Top Rank. If the Kell Brook fight falls through, they're going to find some tomato can for him to fight. More than likely, he's going to rematch the last tomato can that he beat. And we're going to continue to go around and around in circles about how everybody's ducking Terence Crawford. But at the same time, Terence Crawford is managing not to fight anybody and to sit around and wait for Errol Spence Jr. to unify the belts. My thing is, hey, no need to wait. Make the date. There's already a guy with 3 belts over there at 154 pounds, and you know you can get that shot at Texiera in your next fight easy. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. Also, thank you guys so much to everybody that supports on Patreon, everybody that supports in the channel membership, everybody that comes by the live streams Monday through Friday and on Sunday and supports in the Super Chat and the Cash App and all that. You guys really make the channel go. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. With that, I'm out. Peace.